am Lisa Loeb. Stay tuned. Taped with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're going to see Rabbi Doug.
Oh, everybody talk about Doug. Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. Glad you could be with us today. My guest today is Dr. Gabrielle Young. Welcome to the show, Gabrielle.
Thank you.
Dr. Young is an amazing young lady, and we have been friends for a number of years now. She is a Jewish young lady from the Chicago area. At 17 years old, she moved to Kauai, and she was running on the beach and stopped and asked by someone if she ever modeled. From there, she got involved in swimsuit modeling. And from there, she entered the Fitness America Milwaukee Regional Championships, and she won. She went on to be voted the most congenial and best bikini body by her peers. And then she was featured in Oxygen Fitness magazine. She went on to the Fitness America Championships, which are a big deal. And she was a rookie. And she did place. And she that was featured on ESPN and played over and over again.
To my family's dismay.
And a lot of people have seen you on that. You did your undergrad at University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. And you went into human nutrition and vitamin mineral metabolism. Does that have to do with how the metabolism of your body works with the vitamins and minerals that you
That's right.
take? Okay. And so you were there studying in school, and all of a sudden a tornado siren went off, I hear. And you all went to a fallout shelter, and you started to get nervous and said, what if something's wrong with someone? What can I do for them? And that got you to decide to go into pre-med. But you continued on in nutrition, and you went to the Arizona College of Osteopathic Medicine, and you received your DO and became a doctor. And you trained for 2 years in psychiatry and worked in general med, and now you are switching into family medicine. And I can't even tell you how happy I am to have you on the show, Dr. Young. Tell me, Gabrielle, what first made you think that you had it in the modeling and the fitness profession? Because before you became a doctor, but you were still in school and working towards these goals, you had all these things come ahead to you, and you were like approached. What made you think that you could really do it?
Well, I don't think I ever thought that I couldn't, or it just kind of happened. It was a very natural progression because I'd always been really into fitness and wellness, and it just happened.
Did you ever think that you would do a portfolio and send it to a modeling agency or anything like that
No.
before this all came along?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. So now you've done TV, you've done radio, you've been featured in magazines. As a matter of fact, I have here a magazine which I want to show you. This is 4 p.m. magazine, Body, Brains, and Beauty, Dr. Gabrielle Young, the body issue. And this issue right here is just recently out.
This is the latest issue.
Latest issue, and they kind of did a little bit with your picture here on
They
the
wanted
front.
me to, this was their best Lady Gaga impression, as far as I know.
Unbelievable. And there's a whole story about you in here, and pictures which you're featured in. If you get the magazine, she's on page 20, and this whole article about you. What do you think when you do TV and come on? Do you think it's the doctor? Do you think it's the model? What do you think really has made your career shoot up in popularity?
Well, I think that it's both. I don't think that my career would exist either way if it was just one or the other. There's a lot of models and there's a lot of doctors. But what happens is there's a huge dichotomy between the two. There, for some reason, isn't this combination of being able to believe that you're smart and that you can also be pretty.
Very nice, very nice. What's your favorite thing about being a doctor? Now, you don't find you're young and working as a doctor, and do you find the helping patients? Do you find the you know, the whole field itself of medicine so intriguing. What is it about doctoring and helping people that makes you want to be a doctor? Because I would presume that if you have the fitness career or the modeling career, that you probably could take off in that and not even be a doctor, because you are a very beautiful woman, and a lot of people have approached you about, you know, going on in that type of field. But yet, I know that your passion is really being a physician.
Well, you can't provide. You're not giving anything back. So the biggest thing is that you have to be able to give something back. I was raised in a Jewish family, and one of the biggest things is it's about being a mensch and giving back, and being a model and doing all that stuff and being in magazines and on covers. It's not even close. It doesn't even compare to what it's like when you actually are privileged enough to be able to treat a patient.
Very nice. What are your aspirations? What are your aspirations? Because obviously you love doing these things. Now, you used to do swimsuit modeling and things like that, and you're not doing that stuff anymore. Right. You've moved away towards a more conservative look and a more conservative type of presentation of yourself publicly and in business. Are you doing the fitness competition anymore? You're not doing that either, are you?
No, I'm not. Right now my focus is medicine. I'm very open to media. You know, I've done media in the past. I've done things for Fox and TNT. But my goal is really to focus on medicine. And then when I'm finished with my training, then I may explore some more media-based things.
Very nice.
So ultimately, I would love to do something in the media. It's not necessary. But one of the great things about media is, as you know, that you can reach a lot of people. So right now, we'll sit here and we'll reach a lot of people, as opposed to being able to speak to them one-on-one. And it really gives you and me the opportunity to reach out.
Well, here's something I know that, you know, a lot of people are watching and saying to themselves, I have a beautiful daughter right now. I want her to go to college. I want her to have a career, but I would love for them to notice how beautiful she is. What is your recommendation and your advice for these young girls who are out there and said, yes, I want to be career-minded, but I would love for someone to take pictures of me and post them in a magazine or you know, on a TV show, someone to invite me to be a guest. What's your advice for them?
Be very careful. Those people don't realize that those pictures stay around forever. I mean, the internet was made for a nuclear bomb. So whatever you do will come back, and so you have to be proud and be comfortable with what you're doing. And you know, hindsight's always 20/20. So maybe I wouldn't have shot the pictures that I shot, but I did. And so you really just have to embrace it and move forward. I wouldn't necessarily dissuade women. I think that right now there isn't a place. There's just starting to be a place that there's less of a dichotomy between kind of the modeling world and also the academic world. Because as we know it right now, there's a huge divide. I think that things will start to come together, and I encourage girls to be smart about the pictures they take, but they can still be attractive and be models and be smart.
Well, I want to say you've showed me your whole portfolio pretty much, and though you might think as a doctor that some of those pictures you don't want there, they were all classy pictures. There was nothing raunchy about any of the pictures you took, but I understand what you're saying, and certainly people. What about people in the industry? What about people being careful for people in the industry? Is there a lot of dirt in the industry?
You mean in terms of which industry? Medicine?
No, I'm talking about the modeling and that type of media industry.
You mean like what kind of dirt?
Well, you know, photographers, people out there in the industry that are trying to promote you.
Yeah, you have to be very careful about who you work with and make sure that they have a good reputation. And sometimes even if they have a good reputation, their character might not be what you would normally work with.
Now, you started at 17. And you were already living away from home, I presume, because you were in Hawaii. Did you have anybody who was like watching over you at the time?
I did. I actually moved in with my aunt, and well, she is like my aunt. She's
a close
my
family
god
relative.
aunt, and I worked for room and board, and she was also a nutritionist.
So she was kind of helping you make sure that everything was kosher and safe.
That's true.
Very nice, and that, of course, is a very important part of it.
Yes, very important.
Don't go away. Taped with Rabbi Doug. We'll be right back.
Nobody likes me. Nobody. Maybe it's because I like to attack people. Men, women, kids. I can reduce them to weak, stammering, confused, scared imitations of their former selves. If they don't stop me, I just might leave them that way for life. I am a stroke.
Learn to recognize a stroke and act quickly. Time lost is brain lost.
I'm Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary, sometimes known as Puff the Magic Dragon, and I'm hiding the great face of Rabbi Doug. Watch him. Rabbi Doug. It's a wonderful show.
Maria?
Yeah?
Some things on TV scare Elmo.
If some things on TV make you or you feel sad or scared, tell a grown-up that's close to you.
Like you, Maria.
Yes, like me.
Now, if someone called you up tomorrow, and I know you're working as a doctor, and that's very important, but if somebody called you up tomorrow and said, I have this spread that's taking place in Australia, and...
I would say no.
You would say no?
I would say no. I would say, been there, done that.
Very nice.
So at this point in my career, in my life, it's the patients come first, and furthering my education comes first.
Tell me about nutrition.
Okay.
Now
one of my favorite subjects.
I know. Well, I know that you're an expert on nutrition. You know, we all, almost all of us, except for you, need to lose a little weight. We all need to work out a little bit more. You know, someone I know was 61 years old, worked out regularly, dropped dead of a heart attack. What is it and of course maybe there was a heart defect that nobody knew about and everything like that, but what is it in nutrition that people have to like really focus on and be careful about at the same time to stay really healthy and fit and not kind of go over the edge and go backwards?
When you say over the edge and backwards, what do you mean?
As far as overeating, as far as over vitamin taking and things like that.
Well, moderation is important in anything that we do, and definitely in nutrition. If you are wanting kind of more preventative nutrition, there's something called functional foods, and it's foods that really have a very high nutrient density, and those are the things that you should be eating. You know, there's lots of talk about fruits and vegetables and bright colors, and all that stuff is true and very important to eat. And your friend or someone that you know, and I'm sorry about that, sounds like...
Someone in my community.
Yeah, that they just dropped dead of a heart attack. There are genetics. So no matter what you do, even if you live the best possible life you can't necessarily overcome all genetics.
So, for example, you say fruits and vegetables, and people do talk about fruits and vegetables a lot, but you know, many people who are over 50, approaching 60, have found themselves on things like metformin and things for high blood sugar, which is generally genetic also in people that young. And fruits and vegetables have a lot of sugar in them. Fruits, vegetables, and juices. How do you overcome in your diet the people who are borderline, you know, with high sugar, when everybody's telling you fruits and vegetables are the healthiest things to eat, and there's so much sugar in fruit.
And that's an excellent question. And one of the things that I see is when diabetic patients come in, or borderline diabetic patients come in and say, well, I'm eating tons of fruit, they're eating really high glycemic fruits. Not all fruits are really high in sugar. Berries are really good. Diabetics can tolerate berries very well. And vegetables that are not high in starch. We're talking about leafy greens. All those things will really help moderate blood sugar, because the fiber slows down the release of sugar into the bloodstream.
Very nice. What about breads? You know
the answer to that.
Well, you know, people say, you know, I always thought, at least until just recently, because I am following nutrition news, and they always said whole wheat bread is much better than white bread. But now I'm hearing that whole wheat bread has as much sugar going into your blood as white bread does. What is the story with bread, and how can we eat bread? How can we eat bread and be careful to not have that bread turn into sugar in our systems?
Well, you can't actually prevent it from turning into sugar, but you can really modify the amount. So we all think of a sandwich as having 2 slices of bread. Well, have it with 1. I would try that. But processed foods are not really good for you.
So is there a difference really between whole grain and non-whole grain?
Sure. It's a little less processed. How significant that is, I'm not entirely sure. In terms of the body, it's not that much more significant. It's about the fiber content.
What do you do in your diet? What do you do in your diet? Because you look great. I know you work hard at it, too. And I know you work out and you do all those things. But what do you do with your diet? You're hungry. You're on the road. You're working a full day from morning until night. You're a doctor, but doctors do that. How do you eat healthy? Not become anorexic, as they say, not where you're not eating enough to stay healthy. How do you do that and keep up the energy to also work out? Because you have to eat enough that you can burn off and not burn too much off and lose that energy. Well,
discipline. So I know exactly the kind of foods that I eat. For example, I eat, personally, pretty low carbohydrate. I eat vegetables and lean proteins and some fats and some nuts, but I'm very regimented.
What about meats and fish and things like that?
All those things.
You do?
I do. Yes.
Ice cream?
No.
No ice cream?
Once a week. So there's once a week. So for me, what I do is I do kind of a more carb depletion and a glycogen depletion, which...
so you replace one with the other?
I do. So I deplete my muscles, and then I fill them back up. And it allows me to stay lean really throughout the whole year. And I don't have to work as hard as I used to. I've put in so many years working so hard. I don't have to do that nearly as much anymore.
Because you have your routine.
And because I've done it for so long. So it's about consistency and building a foundation.
Really? Okay, another subject. What about beauty and makeup? A lot of people are out there looking at you going, wow, not only are you a doctor, but... you have to be made up when you model, when you go on TV, when you do magazine layouts.
Who made me up this time?
You did it yourself. You did. But you have to choose the right things. What is it? How did you learn to do it? People want to know, how can I learn to do that myself?
I suppose by trial and error. First, it was very Cosmo. I wear red lipstick, and it was very over the top. And you just start to scale back, start to grow up a little bit. Less is more. It's true. I never believed that, but less is more.
Really? Now, when young people desire to be a doctor, what classes do you think, a high school student, we're talking about teenagers,
right?
What classes do you think are important for them to focus on and really excel in? Do they need to take chemistry and physics and calculus if they want to go into pre-med?
Yes.
Are those things required?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes. Lots of chemistry. I have a minor in chemistry. Chemistry, calculus, physics, which is very painful. All those things.
And what about, I know you went into pre-med after nutrition, but there's probably some of the same requirements in college for the beginning of such courses and such majors.
Very true. So although I was pre-med, my track was nutrition. And so a lot of pre-med people, you still graduate with a degree, and it could be bacteriology or it could be chemistry, whatever it is. Mine was human nutrition and vitamin mineral metabolism. So all those classes, there you've got your chemistries, your science. You have to have a core group of sciences, whether it's biology or genetics, and labs and things like that. And
wow.
And it's all, and they've got it all tracked out for you. So then you can pick what track, if it's going to be biology or bacteriology or nutrition, and it's all of that track is pre-med.
Now, I've never been a doctor, but I play one on TV. No. But when you go into a residency and an internship and all those things, I know people who are doing it right now, and they're up from like 6 in the morning, and they're up till 11 o'clock at night in the hospital or whatever they're doing, and then sometimes they're on call overnight too. And how do you find time to work out and keep your nutrition up when you're doing all that stuff?
Prepare. So preparation. Bring all my food with me. I don't take the elevator, as you know. If it's stairs, I'll run them. Bring my gym shoes with me. Whatever I can do extra, I will.
It's amazing. Amazing. Are there any people that you have met along the way that have really helped you shape your goals in your career? Is there someone who, not necessarily that people know who are watching our show, but is there someone, not necessarily even by name, who's really been like a role model or a mentor to you? Or has this all been something that you've done because this is what I want to do and I'm going to research and make my own decisions?
That's a very good question. A lot of the decisions that I've made were my own decisions. A lot of people said, why are you going to go to medical school? Why don't you just do this? And things that really didn't interest me. But all the people in my life, mentors, family members, friends, significant others, all of them shaped me. All of them help create where you ultimately end up.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. You do some amazing things with all this. Is one of your goals possibly someday to be, because I know you were interested in coming on television with me when we first talked because you want to get your message out to people. Have you ever thought of hosting your own TV show?
I would love it.
Dr. Phil-like.
But different.
No, not. But I'm saying to be a doctor on TV who people look to for advice and information.
Yeah, I would love it. Because I started out as a model who ended up wanting something better for my life. I didn't start out as a doctor. I started modeling at 17. I wasn't even in college. So, yes, of course, I would love that. Who wouldn't?
That's great.
Ideally, I would love to have my own show and to have practice part-time.
Well, this is the public information that I'm sharing, that Dr. Gabrielle Young has an open invitation to come and be a guest on her show with another guest and to start her television career as a medical advice columnist on TV. And we'd love to have you back to do that.
Thank you.
And I hope that we'll have you back many times over the years on the show, and maybe we'll get some guests. You'll co-host with me, or I'll co-host with you.
That would be wonderful.
Because I think you'd be great at it. This is so cool, this magazine. Now, you've been featured in other magazines, obviously, and fitness magazines also. When you are featured in these things, do they give you like a proof and say, oh no, these are the pictures that we'd like to publish?
Not at all.
Do we have your permission
not
to do
at
that?
all. Not at all. They are quite surprising often.
Really? Have there been any that you've said, why did you do that without talking to me first?
Well, oftentimes they pick pictures that probably wouldn't be my favorite, but...
yeah, so it is.
Yeah.
Tell me about Fox TV. Now, you have appeared as a regular on some kind of a speed round.
Yeah, it was called the Lightning Round.
The Lightning Round show. Tell me about that, and how did that come about, and what was your position on that?
It was, well, what the Lightning Round is it would be a media topic of the day. For example, Jessica Simpson and Tony Romo breaking up, or she's wearing granny panties, or I don't know, any number of things, or Facebook, or this young kid got in trouble for posting pictures on Facebook. So the Lightning Round is people, it would be me and the anchor and the weatherman.
So the news anchors.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the Lightning Round that you went around doing?
It was talking about your opinion.
As you said, they're young girls getting implants, and their bodies are not physically mature enough yet. So here we are, we're doing an augmentation, and we're doing a surgery on women or young girls that are not developed.
And just because so-and-so's getting it doesn't mean it's right for someone else.
Really? I thought because everyone's doing it, we should all do it.
That's what everybody says.
Oh, so each of you would just give your opinion about it?
Yeah, we kind of argue, bicker, and yeah.
Very nice. And that was fun.
It was very fun.
And
they were very nice.
Will they invite you back and go back and do that again?
Well, I'm certain that they would, but the Lightning Round is no longer around.
They're not doing that now.
It is not.
It's not. Very nice. This is just great. Is your family supporting you? I know your parents, you have a sibling, a sister. Are they all supporting you in your goals right now? Do any of them say, you know what, would you just focus on being a doctor and stop all this?
Oh, well, almost all of them. I would say that it's probably 90-10. So 90% want me to not really do media anymore, and the other 10% want me to do both.
Really?
My family is pretty conservative, but certainly some of them really have warmed up to it.
I know her family. She has a great family.
Yes.
She has a great family.
Neurofibromatosis.
Neurofibromatosis, or NF, is a genetic disorder that causes tumors to grow anywhere on or in the body. It can lead to blindness, deafness, loss of limbs, brain tumors, and severe disfigurement.
Neurofibromatosis.
Let me make it easy for you. Children's Tumor Foundation. The Children's Tumor Foundation, dedicated to ending neurofibromatosis through research. Let's all start saying it.
Children's Tumor Foundation.
I'm Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
People diagnosed with MS are young adults in the prime of life. This message is brought to you by the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America.
In 1993, we had no treatments for multiple sclerosis. Now we have 6 approved by the FDA. But these treatments only help people who take them. So therefore, the idea of getting on a medication early in the disease, at the first sign of MS, is critically important, because the medications for MS, we call them disease-modifying therapies, can be very successful if patients take them early in the disease. If they wait for 10 or 15 or 20 years to take them, they don't work as well. So the big push now by most MS experts, including myself, is that I try to put patients on medications as soon as possible.
To learn about MS and these therapies, contact your neurologist or MSAA.
This has just been so much fun having you, and we've only touched like the very tip of your career and the information that you could share with us. What is your advice to the audience as a doctor right now? If you could give one bit of advice before we conclude today, what would you say as far as health and young people's futures? What is your advice today?
Well, in terms of health, be a smart consumer. There's all sorts of information that's floating out there on the web, and everybody's an expert. Do your own homework. Become an educated consumer about the medications that you're taking, about the foods that you're eating, about the supplements, about everything. And in terms of young people, go after your dreams and be very aware of what you're doing as a youth, and really think about how that may impact your future and what roads that may lead you. And do the best you can.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much for being on the show. I want to thank all of you, our viewers, and remind you that you can check out our show on the web and check out our website at www.tvrabbi.com. And if you want to send Dr. Gabrielle an email or send us an email, I will certainly forward it to her. You can send it to info@tvrabbi.com. I want to once again thank you, Dr. Gabrielle Young, for being with us.
Single Jewish men. You should send them my way.
Okay. And we're going to find her a nice shidduch, too. And remember, we're on every week at this time. Hope to see you next time right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Once again, Dr. Gabrielle Young, and I want to thank my crew and everyone for being here today, and hope to see you next week right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
And I'm talking about Rabbi Doug. Talking about Rabbi Doug. Talking about Rabbi Doug on your TV show. Well, he's the rabbi for me. Anytime you need, you're gonna get married or you're gonna die. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug on the TV tonight.
This has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.